So Ben, what are you going to do when you can't get your porn?
I'll just make my own.
Okay. All right. I mean, I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've got, I got it all figured out.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode of SouthGeek News. This is episode 11. We are recording on February the 5th, 2024. My name is Donovan Atkinson.
2025.
2025. Shit. Damn it. I was trying my best not to forget that. I'm actually writing 2025 on things. I haven't screwed that up yet. Anyway, I am Donovan Atkinson, and that is
Ben Rayberg.
Right. And 2 weeks ago, we did this remotely because we had almost 6 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
But you drove over here today in a convertible.
Yeah, because it's 79 degrees.
I know. Welcome to, as you said, welcome to Earth.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing for the last 2 weeks?
It's a blur.
I know.
It's a blur. I'd have to go and look in my notes. I've got a new site coming online. We're just waiting for them to close on the property. That will be the 2 here in Tifton, Tallahassee coming. Yeah, so that'll be the 5th location.
It's the same company?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't stop.
I mean, that's good. I mean,
Yeah,
that means
good.
he's making money. And if he's making money, you're making money. Hopefully.
Oh, it's always more money when he gets bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really. I mean, it's been.
Is that your journal?
It's notes.
You actually write notes in a journal. You're supposed to journal in a journal.
No, I have a different journal for that.
Oh, you have a journaling journal.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't use the journaling app on the phone.
No.
Nah, me either.
I can't write that way.
Nah, me either. I need that tactile.
Yeah.
I've actually discovered that, and I think they've proven this out, that even though I can type really fast, but I am more creative when I actually write. Whether it's, and I have this bad habit of I'll go back and forth between block letters and cursive. It just,
Yeah, I will keep the writing, block letters or cursive within the thought, but it depends on the mood and maybe what I'm writing. If I'm writing for clarity, it'll be like block letters. So,
yeah.
But if I'm trying to get thoughts out, got to go a little faster. But it's still the pen in hand to paper slows you down, so you crafting sentences and thinking about it a little more deeply as you write.
Yeah, because if I'm scripting an episode of a podcast, like my personal podcast or whatever, I don't type it. I will write it, and then struggle to read my own writing, as I'm recording it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, basically, the last 2 weeks have been kind of a blur for me too. I mean, I made one trip over to Nashville to start a project that didn't necessarily get abandoned in August of last year, but it kind of got put on pause.
Yeah.
And so we started that one back up, and I spent, about a good morning over there getting the firewall configured and the switch and a Synology and the Wi-Fi. You ever had an experience with the TP-Link Deco Wi-Fi?
No.
Don't get them. No.
Why do you have it?
Well, that's what I got for this client because Ubiquiti was overkill. It's a small office, and at the time, I didn't want to have to. We got this situation where when you go with Ubiquiti, you always have a tendency, at least I do. I want to put in a controller so that I can control the stuff, and I don't necessarily want to have to control it using the app on a phone. And they say that, if you're only doing maybe one access point, okay, a controller is definitely overkill. I agree. But I've also run into an instance, which I think we discussed that on our very first episode when Tyler was here, of where I lost connection for one that I set up that way. So I'm very, very skittish about setting anything up that way. The square footage of the office I can't, it's only a few hundred square feet in the office. And so I went with a Wi-Fi, I think it's a Wi-Fi 7, might be a Wi-Fi 6. Honestly, I can't remember. It was inexpensive. Now, don't get me wrong. It works great. They're these little cylinder-looking things. Mm-hmm. They're about maybe 6 inches tall.
Like an Amazon Echo?
Very similar to that.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was hoping that I could do, but through pages and pages and pages of pissed off people in the forums, I discovered there's no web interface. You have to set it up with the TP-Link app. So I did. And fortunately, this is one of those situations where it's set it and forget it, because all I got to do is say, here's your SSID, here's your password, and it should just work. And it's a meshing style. So both of them have 4 network ports on them, but the primary one, of course, is set up over there and connected to the switch. And then the other one's in another room. It's just set up connected to power.
Yeah.
And they weren't difficult to configure at all. They do come up in router mode. So I had to figure out where that setting was to convert it over to access mode, because it was giving me a weird subnet. And I was like, this is not the subnet that I set up here. I was like, oh God, I hope this is not going to be a problem. So it was an interesting journey with some new tech that I'd never used before. And I was hoping that I hadn't screwed myself in the scenario, but the speed test over the thing, this client has got Windstream fiber, uses the same
thing,
uses the same ad trans that we use, that we got. They had put him, he had this white little kinetic box. And at first I was like, what the hell is it? Come to find out, it was a Wi-Fi router. And I was like, dink, disconnected that, connected my pfSense firewall in. And I said, they're charging you for this, give it back to them. You don't need it, because I will never, ever let a company, a client of mine, a business client of mine, use the ISP provided Wi-Fi router. Just not happening. Sorry.
Yeah. Or pay extra
for it. No. So that was the biggest thing that I had. And we ordered some more hardware because we're not done. He's got a rack. I got him to buy a rack that's going up on the wall that we can mount all this stuff. He's buying, we bought the Raceway, so that he's already got all the lines run, so we can pretty it up. So hopefully by the end of February, about mid-March, I'll have that project wrapped up. Because so far, I mean, he's a good payer. He does not mind my hourly rate.
Good. So one of my clients is a nonprofit, well-funded profit, because they were able to put on an awards banquet. It's an annual awards banquet that they give. And I got an invite, like, oh, we just need somebody to eat the food they bought and to take up a space so the pictures aren't so empty, So take my wife, and we go last night. It was at the Agorama Museum.
Mm-hmm.
They're paving the driveway, and we had to go around construction equipment.
Oh boy.
But anyway, it was good. It got to the awards thing, and they gave me an award.
Gave you an award?
They gave me an award, the Betty Rifen Volunteer of the Year.
Oh, that's awesome. Proudly recognizes and honors Ben Rayberg as the 2024 Betty Rifen Volunteer of the Year Award recipient.
I
had no idea.
I was taken aback.
Yeah.
Because there were other awards, named for other people and for other reasons.
Mm-hmm.
There were mostly law enforcement.
Well, considering who this is, I can understand that.
So I was like, how am I one of these recipients? A couple of years ago, I'm standing in the front in the reception area, and behind the administrative assistant's desk is a couple of drawer handles for dresser drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're broken. And I just looked at them and go, what's going on with that? And long story, ended up, nobody knew how to use a fucking screwdriver.
So you fixed it.
I was like, I can turn a screwdriver. And that sort of graduated. somebody ripped the kitchen door off of the frame. Like the door had separated.
Yeah.
Rebuilt that door and repainted it because I couldn't find another door.
So basically, you volunteered.
I
and
was
did
the handyman.
Non-tech. Yeah, you were.
I was the handyman. Flushed water heaters. I repaired things that broke. So many folding closet doors. And I enjoyed it. I just kind of ran out of time and got busy and couldn't keep up with it. So they, in the past couple of months, they've actually found a maintenance guy and paid him to to do stuff. So,
well, that's nice.
But, I never expected it. And everyone else who received an award, they knew everybody in the room. They're up there with the sheriff because the sheriff's their boss. And and I'm just going,
you're like, hey,
what?
Hello.
I didn't know what to say.
I'm your IT guy.
But I've had some time to reflect and I just want to say I was taken by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had a chance to reflect, and I did those things because they needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was going to do it, and I was able to.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that, for sure.
But I had no idea it meant that much.
Yeah.
For them to name me, and
it's wild, but sometimes it is those little things, just the little things that we take for granted. But it is such a huge thing for somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff is easy. It was time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
I took a bathroom apart because it was water damage. Got all that cleaned up and resealed and put it back like it needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forgotten about it. I'd forgotten about those 2 days I spent over there.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the work that I was able to do. But I'm not going anywhere. I'll help out when I can.
Yeah.
They probably shouldn't depend on me if they need something.
Well, you said they got a maintenance guy now, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe he needs your help. You never know.
If he's getting paid.
Yeah. He's getting paid.
Yeah. I don't know if he would be the sort to put dining room chairs back together and shore them up just so they don't have to buy more chairs.
Well, I don't know.
I think by now they bought more chairs.
Yeah. You're having to do more with less.
They put up a play set in like a courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
And when they built this new facility, and it's already weathered so much that it was creaky and splintery and screws lifting up and not safe.
Mm-hmm.
So my son and I went one afternoon and tore the entire thing down, carried it away.
Oh, wow.
It's just those kind of things I forget about.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I did cut that plastic slide into pieces and got it in the dumpster.
Well, congratulations on your Betty Rifen Volunteer of the Year.
Of the year.
Yeah. I don't know who Betty Rifen is, but okay.
She was a staunch supporter of the organization.
Yeah.
Did a lot.
Okay.
And I think she was more or less a volunteer, but she was very involved. But she passed away a few years ago. So they renamed this award for her.
Yeah. Well, that was sweet of them.
So now every year they're going to call, they called out the previous recipients of each award. And so every year they're going to.
So you're going to get named every year.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you handle the fame?
If I make it in the grapevine.
Oh, the hell with
I'm going to have to just.
The hell with the tip to top.
I'm turning off the lights. I'm turning off lights and leaving the phone off the hook.
He wants to be in my competition.
That's equal to viral.
That's true.
No.
Hey, I got to get. Well, I'm not shitting on the Tipton grapevine. I mean, it's a good thing. And plus, they got. I believe I've seen their numbers. They're somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 or something subscribers. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
I figure they'd have more by now.
They may. This has probably been a couple of years since I actually saw some numbers there, but it's a good rag, as they say. It's a good rag.
Yeah, they tend to talk things up and kind of give you the wrong idea when they don't have the full story.
I know I reached out to them one time few years ago about advertising, and they never got back to me. So I said, to hell with them. Again, congratulations on the award.
Yeah, enough about me.
All right, let's get on to some stories. So, ChatGPTGov, OpenAI launches a chatbot for U.S. government agencies. So it's a specialized version of that ChatGPT that we all know and love. It's going to allow government organizations to access OpenAI's large language models, but they're also going to be able to maintain their internal security protocols and hosting environments. Until Doge, I'll stop. It's going to offer features similar to ChatGPT Enterprise. I guess, is the Enterprise their $200 a month deal?
No, that's the Pro.
That's the Pro. God, what is the Enterprise?
You have to be an Enterprise. I think that's one of those call for pricing things.
Oh, okay. All right. $20,000 a month. I don't know.
That depends. Oh, have you ever looked at, was it Grok?
No, I try to stay away from it. The one from X.
Yeah, XAI. Yeah. The Pro or Enterprise or whatever, it's $5,000 a month.
God, well, from what I've heard, it's a piece of crap too. So
I don't use it.
I mean, I'll
use it to look for something on Twitter, or every tweet now has a button, an XAI button.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what he's talking about. I don't get it. If that's a joke, I don't get it. So you can hit the XAI button and Grok will explain it to you.
I don't trust anything that Elon is involved in anymore.
He's not involved. You think his fingers ever touched a keyboard building that thing?
No, but he's in charge of the people that do. So it's like he's in charge of the 20-something-year-olds that's going through wrecking the federal government right now. But anyway, so this will include conversation management, GPT-4 access. They can do custom GPTs, administrative controls. Apparently, several agencies are already using ChatGPT services. The Air Force Research Laboratory, Los Alamos National Laboratory, Minnesota's Enterprise Translations Office, and Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Minnesota's Enterprise Translations Office? What the fuck is that?
I don't know.
That's not part of the story. That's just...
I don't know. I'm going to look it up now. Look up.
Enterprise Translation.
Oh, yeah. It's actually, there's an Office of Enterprise Sustainability. There's a translations. It's at mn.gov. Okay, let's go here. Enterprise Translations Office. Welcome to the Enterprise Translations Office, ETO, the linguistic bridge connecting Minnesota's government services with our diverse communities. Established under the mandate of Minnesota Statute 16B.373, the ETO is a centralized and specialized translation services provider.
I get it.
Dedicated to breaking down language barriers and ensuring that all Minnesotans, is that how you say it, Minnesotans, have equal access to vital information and services with a focus on Spanish, HMONG, I don't know what that is, Somali, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so Minnesota's Democratic, right? It's got a Democratic governor. Isn't that...
I couldn't tell you.
Isn't that where... God, wasn't that Harris's VP running mate? God almighty,
Tim Walz?
Yeah, isn't he governor of...
Governor of something.
Okay, I was thinking... Anyway, because it includes diversity, it's out. I'm not letting that
That's a state department. So.
I know. That's the reason why I say as long as it's not a Republican governor, it's probably safe. And then we just lost 3 members of the audience, so that leaves us with 1. I don't know. What's your take on ChatGPTGov? I mean, is it a good thing or a bad thing that our government is actually going to use something like this?
It depends on how they use it. It's it could all go sideways.
Yeah.
Or it could become more efficient. I don't know. Is it like a college? The college signs up and all the students get access? Or is it each government entity decides they want to pay for access to this? But how are they going to use it? Are they going to get enough out of it? And then is it going to be impactful enough?
Yeah, it says According to OpenAI's announcement, agencies will be able to employ their own hosting environments and security framework while using ChatGPTGov to handle, quote, non-public sensitive data. Non-public sensitive data.
That's going to go.
Is it safe? Questions of ethics, morality, and safety surrounding the use of generative AI models is an issue of hot debate pervading spaces from high school academic honesty committees up to national security offices. While experts and officials will continue to debate, OpenAI said in its press statement, government agencies using why can I not say T? ChatGPT should be a D. Gov can deploy the program in their own Microsoft Azure commercial cloud or Azure government cloud on top of Microsoft's Azure OpenAI service. These are oft-used services with advanced safety protocols popular in government offices. There you go. I don't know.
I just kind of have to see how they use it. And will we ever know if they're using it or if something they've drummed up? I can only see it being used for, I don't know, looking for fraud.
Yeah, maybe.
Pure research.
Yeah.
On what constituents think, or, looking at statistics and just analyzing data.
Writing new bills.
No, that's not going to happen.
We've already seen.
They can write them.
We've already seen how well that went with some of the lawyers' cases and stuff where they used it early on, where GPT hallucinated and referenced cases that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So, well, let's connect that one with the second one, which should make you go, The technology that runs Congress lags so far behind the modern world that its flag tracking system just caught up to 2017 era Pizza Hut. So this article discusses the fact that how far behind their technology is.
Mm-hmm.
District offices only got secure Wi-Fi in 2023. The staff were using free Zoom accounts that had the 40-minute limitation. Now, the upside to that is, sorry, got to go. Time's short. It cut off. Electronic signatures weren't adopted until 2021. The House only spends about $10 million annually on tech innovation. What are they spending it on?
There's only a few hundred of those guys. I mean, I can make a difference with 10 million.
Yeah.
And they still walk in there in the same damn suits and shake hands. And
they still don't understand the stuff that they're trying to pass laws on either. Congress recently created a flag tracking app in 2024, catching up to Pizza Hut's 2017 delivery tracking technology. I didn't even realize that was an issue. I mean, they're trying to track whenever they send out flags to constituents.
What
I would never get a flag from
what a flag is.
The U.S. flag.
What?
The American flag.
I have to buy on my own. I've never received a flag.
Exactly. That's
because they've never been able to track it. Is that
maybe
right?
That's it. Maybe that's the reason why we never could get a free flag.
Is that why the post office is so slow? They have to walk around the collection of flags that haven't been delivered?
That's probably it. That is probably it. The last thing is some modernization efforts are underway, including experimenting with AI, remote testimony capabilities, and deliberative technology platforms. What is a deliberative technology platform? Somebody please explain that to me.
I don't know. Why do flags need to be tracked?
I'm trying to find it. This is an article over at theconversation.com.
Or was my Claude agent hallucinating and just making up shit to do this summary?
No. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now. Like many institutions, Congress resists change. Only the COVID-19 pandemic pushed it to allow online hearings and bill introductions. Before 2020, whiteboards, sticky notes, and interns with clipboards dominated the halls of Congress. Electronic signatures arrived on Capitol Hill in 2021 when they passed the e-Sign Act. Trying to find this thing about the flags.
Jesus Christ. And I was wondering why we haven't looked at allowing psilocybin for therapeutic research. It's because we can't even
track flags.
I mean, they still think they need to track flags.
I want online voting, but now I know why it'll never happen. Well, I mean, aside from the Republicans never wanting anything like that because they got to be able to cheat. Yes, he said it. Yeah. Governments in Finland, the UK, Canada, and Brazil are already piloting deliberative technologies in Finland. Roughly 1/3 of young people between 12 and 17 participate in setting budget priorities for the city of Helsinki. Interesting.
Congress in late 2024 created a flag tracking app that has dramatically improved a program that allows constituents to receive a flag that is flown over the U.S. Capitol.
Is that in this article or did you find it somewhere else?
Yeah, it's in this one.
Okay. I think
it's way at the bottom.
Maybe that's what it was.
Before, different procedures in the House and Senate caused time-consuming snags in this delivery system. They've been spending tax money trying to figure out something that doesn't need to. They could just use the same flag every day.
Okay, so next one is Apple reportedly phasing out option to purchase multi-year plans of Apple Care Plus. So this is according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, who is never wrong, apparently. Apple is going to phase out the option to purchase the 2 to 3 year Apple Care Plus plans in physical Apple stores and on devices starting next week. So customers will have to do the monthly or annual subscription options. The only way that's going to remain to get a multi-year Apple Care Plus plan up front will be through Apple's online store at the point of purchase. And so then they used a 14-inch MacBook Pro as an example. The current upfront 3-year costs $279 compared to the subscription rate of $99.99 a year, which offers a modest $20 savings over 3 years. I don't know about you, but number one, do you put Apple Care on your devices like your phone?
I bought it once, never. No, I did use it once, but no.
I do. I discovered that it made more sense to do the subscription than it did to buy the 2 to 3 year, because here's the problem you ran into with the 2 to 3 year. Let's say you got an iPhone. Mm-hmm. All right. I have a tendency to keep an iPhone for maybe 3-4 years.
Yeah.
All right. At the end of the 2 or 3 year Apple Care Plus, you can't renew it. If you bought that 2 or 3 year, you can't renew it, but you can continue to pay that damn monthly subscription in infinity till the damn phone just fucking dies.
Like $8.50 a month or whatever.
I think my 16 is costing me like $9.99 or something. And so I used to have it on these iPads. I don't carry it on the iPads anymore. I've got it on one of my Apple TVs, but I don't have it on the other.
Yeah.
And the way I look at that is Apple TV. I mean, okay, if it breaks within the first year, then they're going to replace it because that's under the standard warranty. What do I need Apple Care Plus on that? I'm not carrying it around. I'm not going to drop it and break it.
I lost both of mine with a lightning strike.
Yeah, but that's not covered.
Oh, well then I don't need it.
As far as I know, I mean, I don't think that would be covered. That would be covered up under your homeowner's policy, and whatever your deductible is, it's cheaper just to buy a new Apple TV.
Yeah, new Apple TVs, new TV, new firewall, new switching.
Okay, well,
bunch of shit.
You sound like what happened to Walt many, many years ago.
It cost me about $3,000 or $4,000.
He got hit by a lightning strike, and it took out several pieces of equipment. The upside is at the time, he and I both had gotten these HP 1 gigabit layer 3 switches off of the gray market. So this was a $2,000 or $2,500 switch that we both got for like $300. Great. Matter of fact, it's on the shelf behind you back there. His got hit. So he itemized and was like, what would it cost you to replace this stuff?
Switch is $3,000. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he got for it. So he could buy a new switch. So telling all his secrets. So yeah, I mean, the client that I did a bunch of 12 iPads last quarter of last year, which that project lasted like 2 weeks. And then the manager of that department was let go. And now they're sitting there with those iPads, which I just bought 2 of them from them for another client. So, and they were like, well, we're going to use like 2 or 3 of them. So if you can sell the rest of them. So if you want I think it's a 10th generation, the iPad, the 10.9 inch already in the case, for $400, they will sell them.
You're go there and buy them, or you want them to give you the money?
They can go to.
How much are they? Like if I wanted
the new one, I think is like without the case. The case was like $25, and the iPad's like $465 or something. Bought them off of Amazon. So you're getting. I mean, I bought them in November of last year. They were never used, so they're brand new. So
I don't need one.
Yeah, me either.
But mine's getting old.
Yeah. Well, this one right here this one's like 4 years old now. So
I think I bought mine when I bought my DJI drone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, about 7 years ago.
All right. A lot of angry movie fans seem to be in agreement over why subtitles have become more of a necessary go-to in recent years. Now, backstory for me, my wife and I, when we first got married, before we had kids, I never used closed captioning, subtitles, or anything like that. Matter of fact, they would irritate me. Fast forward to having kids, and closed captioning was a must because you couldn't hear the dialogue over the kids playing. And now I have to have subtitles on everything. It's just the way I've become accustomed to watching. If it's a movie, if it's a TV show, got to have subtitles. I subtitle YouTube videos. Whenever I watch YouTube videos, I turn on the subtitles or closed captioning.
My daughter turns 20 soon, and when she's watching something, she's got subtitles on. She's not even watching it. Subtitles. She's scrolling on her phone.
Mm-hmm.
Subtitles are on the TV. I was like, what? Why do you have? She never gave me a good explanation as to why. I don't prefer subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's something, but I don't know if it's my Apple TV or the video apps. But if I rewind like 15, 30 seconds, it'll turn subtitles on for a few minutes or, about 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what do you say? So I hit, 15, 30 seconds and subtitles are on. So,
that's actually,
I don't have to go in and turn them on and turn them back off.
I think
seems like a new feature.
It is. Matter of fact, if you mute, it'll turn on the subtitles. So, yeah, I think you can turn that off. But as far as I know, the last TV OS that came down for those, that was a feature that they put in it.
I appreciate that one.
Yeah. And that's what this is talking about. It says that the fact that viewers are using subtitles while watching movies and TVs, it's not due to hearing impairment or language barriers, but because of the poor audio mixing in modern productions.
I can understand that.
So the main complaint is the extreme variance between dialogue, it being too quiet, and action sequences and your background music being too loud. They report constantly having to adjust volume levels with dialogue at a 4, while explosions and music blast at like 9 to 10. And this has become more prevalent in streaming content. Most notable, Christopher Nolan films like Interstellar and Tenet.
Neither of which I've seen.
Interstellar is...
I've heard it's great.
It's fucking phenomenal.
I just didn't bother watching it before Netflix canceled.
It is a fantastic movie. We tried to watch Tenet. I got 20 minutes into it, and I couldn't figure out what the hell I was watching. I know it's this weird timey-wimey...
I remember the title of it, and that it was something I was interested in seeing.
Yeah.
Just because I couldn't figure it out from the preview, but...
Yeah, we tried. I want to go back and try again, but I couldn't figure it out. But Interstellar is one of those that it makes you think. It's got moments where you'll basically say, well, it got dusty in the room, because you'll get a little teary eyed. Matthew McConaughey is fantastic in it. It's got a young Charlemagne. I just forgot his first name. Anyway, he's the
Timothy?
Timothy, thank you. Timothy Charlemagne. He's in it. Got some great actors in it. Matt Damon's in it, and Matt Damon's in it as not a good guy, which is weird because Matt Damon's
he was the Martian.
I know, right? Yeah, well, here he's the asshole. So yeah, so you're not a big believer in closed captioning on all the time, but you do like the feature of
I
if you can.
I have been known to turn it on because whatever it was I was watching.
Yeah.
I did not want to hear it that loud, but I couldn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize it was a trend. I thought it was my hearing.
No, it's a trend. Hell, even today, we had our TVs on TNT through the True Vista app. And the audio variation on TNT, I don't know what was going on there, but it'd be like, I can barely hear them. And then suddenly it's like, hello, like that. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever. I'll get off the True Vista hate train one day. DeepSeek. I thought this one was interesting.
Yeah. It was a story.
Yeah. Might not be as disruptive as claimed. The firm reportedly has 50,000 NVIDIA GPUs and spent $1.6 billion on build outs. So, of course, the big headline was when this came out, which they'd already talked about it several months back, but then this R1 version came out, and it was the fact that they did all this for $6 million using 2,048 GPUs. But according to this company called SemiAnalysis, they actually had around 50,000 NVIDIA Hopper GPUs, including H800s, H100s, and H20 units. They spent approximately $1.6 billion on hardware infrastructure. They spent an additional $944 million in operating cost. And DeepSeek emerged from Highflyer, which was a Chinese hedge fund. They launched as a separate AI-focused venture in 2023. They run their own data centers, which they say is unlike other AI startups. They hire talent from mainland China. They offer competitive salaries up to $1.3 million for some of their researchers. And that this previously reported $6 million figure only represented a portion of the training cost, specifically the GPU time for pre-training, but not the research, refinement, data processing, or infrastructure expenses. So I guess my biggest question is, okay, so it was $6 million just for the training. Okay, let's compare that. What did it cost OpenAI to train all of their stuff?
It was like $10 billion.
So it's still impressive. And the fact that they could do it on the lower end GPUs. But I will give you this. It wasn't as earth-shattering as it was made out to be.
No, it's prone to hallucination.
Yeah.
Not that great. I've not used DeepSeek as they offer it. I ran a local model on my machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made shit up. It was funny. And I did the immediate test. I was like, are there any safety rails on this thing? So I was like, give me a recipe for LSD. And it's like, sure, here's a recipe for lyserrazine. I was like, what the fuck is lyserrazine? And it's like, oh, I could see how you'd be confused. And I go to ChatGPT and I was like, what is lyserrazine? And it's like, I don't know. So you just made that shit up. So I was like, all right, somebody's going to die if they ask it for an LSD recipe and they make lyserrazine, which only exists in the movies or something.
It's probably a chlorine gas derivative or something.
I don't know. But yeah, that was interesting. But this hedge fund, they run crypto miner.
Oh, they do.
So they already had a shitload of GPUs. They were just running DeepSeek as a side project to just kind of squeeze more, put all the GPUs at 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's kind of the version that I heard, and that kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Side project. I'm pretty sure they didn't start from scratch.
Oh, I mean, there's already reports that they basically
OpenAI said they've stolen data.
Yeah.
Like, well, OpenAI stole data. I
was going to say that's the funny thing. It's like OpenAI's butthurt over the data being stolen from them that they stole from other people.
Wikipedia. Yeah. I mean, what do you want? They probably, you sign that agreement every time you sign up an account on Facebook or Instagram that they have your data.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want with it, and they don't have to pay you. That's where all the data came from.
That's true.
Well, you just gave it to them.
To the point where they've run out of data to actually train on. To the point
where the AI's corny.
Yeah.
Corny at times.
Yeah. I still like ChatGPT. I mean, I primarily use it. I know you're using Claude on this.
In this one instance, but the rest of it
from
OpenAI.
And I have found that the app on the phone works really well. Like the other day, I was watching, you don't know who this person is, but there's a whole story behind it. But Brett Cooper, she launched her own YouTube channel, and she's a very well-known, well-liked conservative commentator. She used to host a show called The Comment Section by Brett Cooper. It was a Daily Wire thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they parted ways, et cetera, et cetera. And you might be wondering, why would I watch a conservative commentator? Well, I need to see how the enemy is doing their thing, right?
She's probably cute.
Gorgeous.
There you go.
But she's also way too young. I mean, and she's married. She's not even 25 yet.
She's on the television. You can't touch her.
I know, right?
But she's nice to look at. That's all you got to have.
Yeah. I definitely differ with her ideologically on about 98% of everything that she talks about.
Yeah, but she cute.
She cute. But she had this microphone, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've seen this microphone before. What is this damn microphone? So I literally get up while the video's playing. I take a snapshot of the microphone with my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Then I upload that to ChatGPT on my phone. I said, what is this microphone? And it fucking gave it to me.
Yeah.
It was a $1,500 Neumann microphone, but I was like, okay. So, I mean, those little things like that, to me, as long as it can keep doing that, I will probably never make full use of its capabilities, but it's quality of life enhancements for me. You know, used to, I'd have to take that and try to get it into Google image search and say, hey, can you find this or whatever?
Yeah.
But now I take a picture of it, throw it in the ChatGPT and say, can you tell me what this is?
We were up in North Georgia, soccer, of course, and we, over the horizon, you know, it's hilly up there, and we were towards the top of a hill so I could see out a ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw these, like what looked like cooling towers. I was like, looks like a nuclear power plant. So I just took a picture of it and sent it to Claude. And I was like,
what is this?
What is this? And it gave a general, it was like, it looks like a power plant, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, I don't know exactly. I mean, if you could tell me a little bit more about where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I told it I was in what city I was in or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's Plant Vogel.
Oh, so you actually saw whatever it was. It wasn't nuclear. And Vogel was on the other side of the state from where we were. Okay.
The nuclear one. Is it Vogel, the nuclear site? Okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't Vogel that I was looking at. It told me what it was, but it said, no, there's only one nuclear, and that's Vogel and somewhere else. But I was like, oh. Okay.
Yeah. That's the one that's $20 billion over budget. And
why are those towers shaped like cooling towers at a nuclear plant? I didn't ask that, but
that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That kind of stuff still, I love it. But anyway, the funny thing is too, the NVIDIA stock has not recovered. It still has not recovered. I bought because I'm doing piecemeal shit through Robinhood. So the other day, before it tanked, I'd have known.
Yeah. Before
it tanked, I bought some at, I think the strike price was $148 a share. I only bought $50 worth. So, you know, I looked this afternoon, it still was only trading at like 120 something.
Last I looked, it was 141. Maybe I need to look at it again.
I don't know. Well, hang on.
Well, I mean, it was a few days ago, 124.37.
Yeah.
124.38.
So yeah, it's still trading it's trading under $125, and I bought it at 148. So I wish I could have waited, and I wish I had some extra funds right now. I'd buy it at this new rate and then let it rise again. But let's move on to the next one then. Porn ban, millions of iPhone, iPad, Android users now at risk. And this is discussing the surge in VPU usage among American users, which is primarily being driven by the state-level restrictions on adult content and, of course, the brief TikTok shutdowns. We live in the state of Georgia. our ban is supposed to go into effect in July. So don't know what Pornhub's going to do, because it's not that we can't get to it. It's the fact that Pornhub has to do the age verification, and instead Pornhub's been going, no, we're not. And so they just won't allow people to access the site from those states. So it goes on to say that states implementing age verification laws for adult content have led to massive increases in VPN usage, 1,150% in Florida. Users are increasingly routing their traffic through international servers rather than just through other U.S. states that don't have the limitations. Said Pornhub saw a drop of 15 million U.S. visits, but then gained 150 million visits globally. And what it's talking about, the reason why it's saying that they're, your iPhone, your iPad, your Android users and all could be at risk, is the trend is people are using free or questionable VPNs.
Yeah.
So they may not be as secure. They may have potential data breaches, privacy violations.
It's happened.
Yeah. And then, except for the one that I use, which is private internet access, PIA. It says this mirrors similar behavior during the TikTok shutdown where VPN demand surged up to 827%. Yeah, I've been using PIA, not for porn, but I've using PIA for other things. I think I pay
buying drugs.
Yeah, buying drugs. I mean, now that the creator of Silk Road has been pardoned, maybe he'll start that back up again.
I don't think so.
But no, he'll be put in some kind of position in the federal government, I'm sure. So I think it's $6.95 a month is what I'm paying for it. And it works great. It works great. They don't log. They're one of those that if the government goes, give us your logs, they'll go, we ain't got none.
Yeah.
They started out using OpenVPN, and then they started supporting WireGuard. And several years ago, when WireGuard became a thing, it gave you an option to swap it. And WireGuard is a superior VPN protocol anyway. It's faster. The configurations are easier, et cetera, et cetera. So, Ben, what are you going to do when you can't get your porn?
I'll just make my own.
Okay. All right. I mean, I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've got it all figured out. The TikTok thing didn't affect me a bit.
Yeah, me either.
People, I mean, I did see comical videos of teenagers crying over it.
Yeah. The only time that I'm not trying to be such a hard ass on TikTok. The ones that I actually felt sorry for were the ones that built their entire business on TikTok, if that's how they make their money. But that also goes to the old adage of, don't build your livelihood in someone else's backyard.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to diversify.
Yeah.
Now, if you're making $3 million a year and $2 million of it is coming from TikTok and you have diversified, and okay, so that's an issue.
Maybe save $500,000 a year, and
yeah,
for a rainy day.
Yeah, but it did not affect my life at all when TikTok was shut down for what, 24 hours, 2 days, or whatever it was.
I don't know, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was, it did not affect me at all.
I've never had the app, and I've never signed up for an account, so I'm good.
The only time I've ever really watched TikTok videos, Sam would send me some, and people will share them on Facebook. And so,
yeah,
my wife every morning finds funny cat videos and shit that my daughter and I have to suffer through, usually after lunch. They're funny.
Yeah.
They do seem to load faster than the actual Facebook videos. I don't know why. She goes to play a Facebook video, and you can tell the difference. The Facebook video is a standard 16:9 video.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the TikTok is 9:16.
Right.
And it'll just load up. But the Facebook one will sit there with a little swirly. It'll take it a good, 4 seconds. It's like, where are you pulling that from? What? Do you need more power in your data center? I mean,
maybe a better CDN.
Maybe so. All right. So Apple's released a new app that I absolutely probably will never use. It's called Invites.
Must be behind the curve. I've never heard of it.
It just came out today or yesterday.
Oh.
So it's called Apple Invites. It integrates with 6 pre-installed Apple apps, including Photos, Music, Image Playground, Maps, Weather, and Calendar. These integrations allow users to create shared event albums, collaborative playlists, custom invite images, show event locations, provide weather forecasts, and easily add events to calendars. And the app requires an iCloud Plus subscription, but works for both iPhone and Android users. And what they mean by Android users is the person with the iPhone creates the event and sends out the invite to other iPhone or Android users. That's all it is. It's an invite app for events and stuff.
Next. I mean, there's been a little bit of the idea going around that Apple really hasn't been that innovative lately.
I believe that is true.
This is kind of an example of that.
Yeah. I mean,
this is like Microsoft's phone. This is useless and it's not going to last.
You know, Microsoft they actually had a pretty good, their last iteration of their smartphone. That's the software that was on it. That was actually pretty good. It's just they were already too far behind Android and iPhone at that point.
Yeah.
I know I used their early versions of their smartphones. Oh, my God. I got one when I was still working at CityNet. I got in the Jeep. It was fully charged, not the Jeep, but the phone. I drove out somewhere. I was only gone maybe 20 minutes, and before I could get back, the phone was dead. So that was back, I forget what they called that, whatever their software was, but it was shitty. Have you ever bought or used one of these smart rings? Like the Aura ring?
Yeah, I've got an Aura.
Oh, okay. All right. So this one is about the next Samsung Galaxy ring could make one sci-fi dream come true. They have filed a patent that suggests that future developments for their Galaxy Ring device will have connections to peripherals that can wirelessly control and transfer data between separate displays such as laptops and tablets. The current Galaxy Ring has limited gesture capabilities where you can dismiss alarms and triggering camera shutters and stuff like that. This particular patent suggests more advanced features like controlling interfaces and moving content between devices through simple hand gestures. And it's also going to reference the S Pen doing basically the same type of thing. Have you ever owned an Android phone?
Yeah.
Did you own a Samsung?
Yeah, it was a Samsung Galaxy something.
My one and only Samsung Galaxy was an S4.
I think that was in 2013 because I ran that half marathon.
I moved from an iPhone 4 because the power button. The iPhone 4s had this problem with the power buttons on them, and I worked on it. I took it apart and worked on it once, but then it kept giving. And I remember I was working at CPI, and I sat there and ordered the Galaxy S4 through Verizon. And I used that phone until I think I swapped over to, I got it, Pixel 2, which still works. You know, I use it for, the Wi-Fi capability and stuff like that. The cameras on them they're not up to par with what we have today, but it's not bad for like a B-roll shot or something. But, I just can't see myself going back to Android. I'm the only one in my family that has an iPhone.
That's fine.
Yeah. My wife won't go to it. She has an iPad, but she just will not have an iPhone.
My in-laws are that way.
It's so weird.
They have an iPad. They pass them between each other, but they each have an Android phone.
Tyler is like, I don't like the walled garden. I just don't like the way Apple does things.
I just don't want to have to hack the fucking thing to make a phone call.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I just want the thing to work. That's why I've had an iPhone for the past
I was going to say, if you just
11 years now.
If you just want things to work, why are we in IT? Have you noticed things just don't seem to be working?
I didn't really have this mindset before I started a career in IT. And, if I had to start over right now,
do something different.
Fuck, that would be dig ditches.
Yeah.
Or supervise people digging ditches or something. I would not be in IT.
I kind of feel that. I really do. That's the reason why my new phrase is whenever I get frustrated, I just go, I like rocks. I like rocks. My wife knows what I mean. And she'll see me get frustrated about something. She goes, rocks. I went, yeah, they just do what they do. They sit there. They don't cause anybody any issues.
Yeah.
You can even paint them and make them pretty faces if you want.
Yeah, that's similar to a phrase my friend had when in high school. You do something for no reason. Somebody asks you why, you always say, can't dance.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Can't dance. Microsoft removes guide for installing Windows 11 on unsupported PCs, but this hack still works. So this is a ZDNet, and it's talking about how Microsoft had actually published the documentation on this registry edit on how to bypass the TPM requirement for Windows 11, but they've removed it for some reason. The company warns that doing so may result in compatibility issues, blah, 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 blah. Of course, there's still alternative methods. You can use third-party tools like Rufus and Flyby. Based on what I saw, the ZDNet article actually has the hack, has the registry edit. So you can still do it. There are ways around it.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find blog posts and other information on how to do it. I'm not that keen on hacking it to get Windows 11 to stick to an older PC.
Well, it's like I think we've talked about before, the only thing that I like in Windows 11 is the tabbed file explorer. That's it. Windows 10 is still my preferred operating system. It runs more efficiently. It doesn't hammer the CPU as much. I mean, it's like what Tyler pointed out when he got one of these little mini PCs and it came with Windows 11. And it was just atrocious. He throws 10 on there, and it's like a whole new experience. Windows 11 is crap, but they're forcing it down our throat. So what do you do?
I did think of something this week or last week. Every January, there's the joke that goes around, this is the year, the Linux desktop.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about it, and every time you turn on a Windows 11 machine or you take one out of the box and set it up, it pushes the shit out of their cloud services. And I feel like it's going to get to the point where it's putting so much dependency on the cloud that eventually all your shit's going to be in Microsoft Cloud. And you're not really going to need a PC unless you have to have something physical in front of you to use it. All the apps are going cloud-based, and
just use some kind of dumb terminal or something.
So in order to maintain control, you either have to get a Mac or learn how to use Linux.
Yeah.
I think they may be shooting themselves in the foot because most applications that I use are web-based. I could use Linux right now to run my whole business.
I could, with one exception. The Take Control does not work on Linux as far as I know. It does. I think it will work on it as a receiver, but me using it as connecting to another device, I don't think it'll work. It does work on Mac. It doesn't work as well as it does on Windows, but it does work. Got some weird quirks on Mac. Like you can go full screen, but then trying to close anyway. So yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one too. The majority, because all my email is web-based, I don't use an app per se. I don't use Thunderbird. I've got Outlook as an app, but I've got it for special situations. But my primary is I got a bunch of just Gmail accounts, and then my business is Office or, Office 365. So I could literally use, Linux for that too. My clients, the majority of them probably could, with the exception of my two big ones. And that's because
they got to use QuickBooks.
They got to use QuickBooks, and the medical software only runs on Windows for one client, and the automotive software only runs on Windows on the other. Even though it's a web-based thing, web in quotes, it installs and it presents itself as I think what they did is they built a wrapper around the original.
Right. Probably uses ActiveX shit.
Yeah. It's crazy. So yeah, I can't do that. Let's see. I think this is our next to last one. Macs are under attack from North Korean malware stealing passwords and more, and how to stay safe. This is over at Tom's Guide. So we have some North Korean hackers are targeting Mac users through a sophisticated job interview scam. So what they do is they pose as recruiters on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a piece of crap anyway. They then convince targets to complete a video assessment. And during this process, they present fake technical issues that supposedly require installing additional software or running terminal commands to fix the camera and the microphone problems. Okay, wait a minute. So I am interviewing. I'm doing this job interview, and then the other company is like, you're having some technical issues, but we can fix that for you so we can complete this interview. You just need to do these things.
Seems legit.
So what they do is they install malware called BeaverTail that can steal browser data and cryptocurrency funds, as well as deploy a persistent Python backdoor called Invisible Ferret. The same ferret malware is also being distributed through fake GitHub repository issues to target developers specifically. BeaverTail. I think I just found the title of this episode. Give me some BeaverTail. All right, so another one that, all of us on our high horses, Macs never get malware or viruses.
Well,
they still don't get them as badly. And of course, that could be still, that's because there's not as many of them out there.
Well, there's bound to be more now because I just saw a job posting. Manager, lead a team building foundation models. I assume it's sort of AI-driven stuff at Netflix. Salary range was 120 to 960.
Wow.
And I had heard that OpenAI was poaching, like a few months ago. OpenAI was poaching AI engineers from Google and paying them $900,000 a year.
I wish I understood more about that kind of stuff.
It's just math.
The one thing that I really suck at in my life?
Math.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tyler's a funny and impressive one to me on that. So we homeschooled, and he was one that was always, he hated math as a kid, but now he runs circles around me and his mom when it comes to the math, because in his software development and in engineering and stuff that he's done over the last decade, he's had to really, really
understand
math. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, it's not for me. Not for me at all.
Well, from what I understand, an LLM is linear algebra.
I sucked at algebra.
It's only one book.
I hated algebra. All right. FCC chair helps ISPs and landlords make deals that renters can't escape. This one actually kind of touched home for me as being a previous executive in a cable broadband company. So our new FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, has abandoned a proposal that would have banned bulk billing arrangements between ISPs and landlords that force tenants to pay for specific internet services. Previous proposal, which was introduced by former chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel, I think is how you say her name, in March 2024, would have allowed tenants to opt out of such arrangements. And of course, the industry groups claim these bulk billing deals provide discounted rates up to 50% lower than retail pricing and remove barriers like credit checks and installation fees. However, consumer advocacy groups argue these arrangements preserve in-building monopolies and limit customer choice, particularly affecting low-income residents who might be eligible for subsidized plans. So let me explain some things about this. Number one, we used to do this thing called bulks. We did it we would do these agreements with hotels, motel chains, apartment complexes, and things like that. At one point, they were still allowed, but you couldn't do exclusives. That was also something that we would do. We would go in and we would take an apartment complex or hotel, and we would do an exclusive agreement with them, and we would also do bulks. It was called EBUs. And it was basically how you'd have, say, 100 rooms, but then you would adjust it down to the number of EBUs. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what EBUs. It's the E stands for, but it's bulk units. But it was a way we could mathematically, we didn't have to pay for 100 rooms. We might only have to pay for 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
So what they're talking about here is, and I don't know if this is I think Tyler's situation may be the same way. He lives in an apartment complex. There's only one ISP provider that I'm aware of that provides service in his building. As he said, he's fortunate that they're really good.
Hmm.
He basically gets an Ethernet handoff from a box in his closet. And there you go.
Provides a WAN address?
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
Yeah. So what the previous proposal was saying was that they were not going to allow these because it did seem to create this monopoly. It was like, well, and what a lot of times what would happen, and Tyler's situation is a little different. A lot of times what will happen is part of your apartment rent or lease would include your internet. You know, it may be priced out, but it's like,
right.
You know, it's $2,500 for the lease and $85 for internet.
Right.
But you have to pay it if you want it. And you have no choice. You only have this one provider. And unfortunately, if that provider sucked, you know, you really don't have much recourse. The thing that they don't point out in this, and the reason why I don't necessarily think this is such a big deal, is what we ran into. If our competitor was already in an apartment complex, and let's say it was 80 apartments,
mm-hmm.
they've already gone through and wired up everything in the apartment complex. It's not in our best interest financially to even attempt to go in there and do the same thing, you know, because what we discovered is anywhere that we were at, and Mediacom, because Mediacom was our only competitor.
Yeah.
We got 40% of the market. They got 40% of the market. The other 20% did satellite or did do internet or whatever.
Yeah.
So it would have to be worth our while to go into that apartment complex and figure out a way to make 40% of those rooms make money for us. Build cost and everything, it didn't make sense. So this is kind of a nothing burger, the way I look at it. I mean, I never liked the fact that whenever Republican FCC chairmen get in and they completely start reversing all the stuff that the Democratic chairman did, because the Democratic chairman is usually looking out for the consumer. The Republicans are not. That's just the way it is. But again, it is what it is. I don't necessarily like it, but I don't see where this is such a big deal as long as there's some recourse that, okay, I'm not getting the internet sucks. Well, you've got to go to the management company of the apartment complex. And I figure if there's enough people in the apartment complex that complain,
yeah, maybe
the pressure will be that somebody will.
Or if you just have people just terminate their leases.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm moving out because the internet sucks.
This internet situation is untenable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, that was the last one in the list. They were riveting, I know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I was having trouble finding stuff that was actually of interest to talk about, because another thing that I was trying to keep in mind is the way I build this show is it's basically a tech podcast for the average person, you know. And so we talk a lot about artificial intelligence that the average person that's going to listen to a tech podcast may not even care about, but they need to. They need to. They need to. And so when things are like, you know, this thing with the FCC, I think that's something that is of interest and, you know, could affect somebody that may listen to the podcast. If you're a Mac user and suddenly you get a job interview from LinkedIn, you might want to be careful, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But do you have anything to add before we get out of here?
My NVIDIA order was filled.
Oh, you bought some?
Yeah. I was waiting. By the time I got the order in, it was a few cents more than my limit was.
Yeah.
I was like, And usually if I want to get it up, go up like 4 cents, try again.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, meh. But it came down another 4 cents and it filled. So I now own some NVIDIA, and that's a decent price.
Yeah. You got it at a better price than I got it at.
I didn't know. It had kept dropping.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I'm hoping that it'll start trending back up.
I mean, you just look at the price of gaming cards right now. It is nuts.
Oh yeah, I saw where there was an article that, and then of course these are scalpers and what have you, but like somebody selling the 5090 for like almost $7,000 or $9,000.
Yeah. Well, people waiting in line for 2 hours in the snow last week.
Yeah.
Just for a chance to maybe get one at the store.
Yeah.
Because they immediately sold out. Okay. Yeah, I'm behind on that one.
Some of the reviews, there's no doubt that the card is a good card, but it's the reviews that I've seen don't paint it as this is the must-have card to get. It's like it's the price that is being asked of it is not commensurate with its capabilities. It's overpriced is what I guess I'm saying.
Well, they were all overpriced in 2018 during, I don't know if there's a chip shortage or...
Well, but 2019 we had when everybody was
starting up crypto mining.
Well, 2019, 2020, the GPUs went crazy because everybody was stuck at home. They needed to Zoom, and everybody was building new PCs with the graphics cards that could do everything. And people were starting to stream more on Twitch and stuff like that as trying to make money and things like that. You saw it. That's the reason why Tyler wound up spending what he did. I think he spent like $1,500 for a graphics card. I think he's got like a 3090 or something. So
now this was before the pandemic.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it did go nuts because everybody was grabbing them for the crypto mining.
Yeah,
and
I thought there's no way that I would get any kind of return out of that.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. All right, so our next recording day will be February 19th. So we're going to get out of here. So hope everybody enjoyed this episode, even though we just kind of meandered around on a few things. If you have any comments or questions, you can email. The email address is podcast@southgeeknews.com. Again, that is podcast@southgeeknews.com. We do offer a members-only version where I cut out some of the stuff that may not have been politically correct or may not have had a damn thing to do with technology.
Or just too political.
Or was just too political. You never know. And you can get access to that for a measly $5 a month. Cheaper than a dozen of eggs right now. If you can get or find a dozen eggs. So anyway, we will be back, the 19th? We'll be back on the 19th. Of course, we record these on Wednesday, and I don't release them until the following Friday. So anyway, there's that. So for me and for Ben, we appreciate your time. We will see you in the next one.
Good night.
See ya. This has been a production of Tifton Media Works. Check out all our podcasts by visiting tiftonmediaworks.com.